I've been married for 12 years, and my husband, who earns millions, has fallen in love with the new receptionist in his company. She's nearly 40, not as pretty as me, and doesn't have as good a figure as me, but in just half a year, she has provided my husband with great spiritual value. Bartley said to me wearily, "If we get a divorce, I'll give you the house and the car. Erica, can you let me go?" I lowered my eyes and said softly, "Okay." Then I bought a calendar and drew a circle on it. The countdown to the divorce. 30 days. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. When I pushed the divorce agreement in front of Bartley, it had been only 40 minutes since he told me he wanted a divorce because of his affair. According to the requirements, the house, the car, and the child would all belong to me. He would give me a compensation and child support of 20 million at one time. After that, I and the child wouldn't bother him anymore. At that time, Bartley was having a phone conference. When he looked down and saw the words, "divorce agreement," his expression moved imperceptibly. Then he nodded, indicating that he understood. I exited the room. To save both of us time, I packed all of Bartley's clothes and luggage. There were 3 boxes in total. Afraid of missing anything, I even put in the photos of his childhood in the attic. Finally, I saw the wedding photo in the corner. In the photo, Bartley had handsome eyebrows and eyes, and I was smiling sweetly. We were embracing unrestrainedly in the sun. At that time, he always held me and murmured, "Wife, I love you so much. I'm so lucky to have married you." I met Bartley in college. When he met me, he was a poor young man wearing worn-out canvas shoes. At that time, there were many people chasing me, but I fell in love with Bartley at first sight. He was calm, kind, and good-looking. He had countless advantages in my eyes. After graduation, we got married as a matter of course, and he founded a company with his friends. After I got pregnant, I became a full-time housewife. I took care of Bartley and our family and child wholeheartedly. As the business grew, Bartley had more and more social drinking parties. In the busy and trivial life, I found time to work out, learn to wear makeup, and dress up. Bartley lived up to expectations. Even when he was busy, he would come back to take care of the child and cook. He helped me deal with the relationship between me and my mother-in-law. In the eyes of others, we were a model couple. I don't know when, Bartley moved the meetings to the evening. Sometimes he would stay up all night and not come home when he was busy. My friends joked with me that I should keep an eye on him in case something happened. I said it wouldn't happen, but I was still worried. I sent supper to Bartley and his colleagues several times. There was nothing unusual. They were having a meeting, and that woman was waiting at the reception. Her name was Jane. She was in her 40s, not tall, thin, with short hair. She looked ordinary, but her voice was gentle, which was different from her appearance. She greeted me with a smile. Over the years, I had thought about this day. I had thought it might be the pretty secretary in the company, or a vibrant college student, or a tough female boss who was collaborating with him. I never expected it to be the receptionist. I heard that she had been married before and got divorced because her husband cheated. This was her first job after the divorce, and she cherished it very much. She would come to the company early, write down everyone's little habits, and make pastries from time to time. Some colleagues even ordered lunch from her for convenience. When I found out, I told Bartley that she had a hard time and asked him to take care of her. Bartley was always indifferent. The company is not a place to show mercy. I've already advised against having transactions other than work. At that time, I joked that Bartley, as the boss, was heartless. Now that I think about it, he was probably feeling sorry for Jane having to make takeout for colleagues after work every day. As for why Bartley chose today to say he wanted a divorce, I just made a bowl of hangover soup for him as usual when he was hungover in the morning. He looked at the soup in front of him, sighed, pushed it away slightly, and remained silent for a long time. Suddenly, he looked up at me, his eyes tired, and asked me if we could get a divorce. He confessed that he had been having an affair for half a year and would find time to go to a hotel when he worked overtime. My heart was shaking like a sieve, and I tried my best to control myself from losing my temper. I asked who it was. When he said it was Jane, I even suspected that I had heard wrong. A sense of powerlessness spread throughout my body. I felt cold and chilled. When Bartley came out after the meeting, I had already finished eating and cleaned up the kitchen. I was sitting in the living room watching a drama. It was as if nothing had happened. He turned around and took a shower. When he found there was no towel, he subconsciously called me from the bathroom. "Wife, Where's my bath towel? I didn't turn around and said, I've put it in the box. If you don't mind, you can use mine, and I'll throw it away later. In response, there was a long silence. When Bartley came out, he noticed the 3 boxes at the entrance. He sat opposite me and pushed the divorce agreement over with his fingertips. I can give you $15 million for child support first, and the rest will be paid monthly. I interrupted him. No need. Let's make a one-time settlement. I don't think she would want you to contact me again. Bartley's eyes showed confusion. The child isn't just yours. I have the right to be involved in his growth. I know I'm at fault in this matter, and I'm willing to compensate. But you don't have to threaten me with the child. I paused the TV drama and looked at Bartley seriously. You're at fault for the affair. It's only reasonable for you to pay compensation and child support. Compared with your assets, it's not much for me to take the house and the car. Our son was raised by me. He's a highly sensitive child with needs. How much energy do you have to take care of him while you're in love? Being involved in his growth isn't just about money. It's also about time and company. Bartley was left speechless. After a while, he said, anyway, I won't use $20 million to buy out our father-son relationship. I reached out and opened the divorce agreement. The $20 million is compensation and child support. If you have other emotional needs, you can transfer money to our son, and I'll open a separate card for him. Bartley suddenly laughed. Erica, I never knew you were so money-minded. All you talk about is money. Otherwise, is loving you useful? Bartley was choked and didn't say anything. He signed the divorce agreement with a sullen face. He also made an appointment with me to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to apply for a divorce tomorrow. Then he called the driver. I went to bed after finishing watching the drama. When I woke up in the morning, Bartley had already left. My son ran out of the room and hugged me. He excitedly told me that he had a very happy dream last night. I listened to his sharing and tentatively told him that his father was busy with the company recently and might be on a business trip for a long time. My son was uncharacteristically quiet. Unlike usual, he didn't ask, Dad, when will you come back? He just said, oh, and pursed his lips. It's okay, as long as I have Mom with me. I couldn't hold back my tears and made an excuse to go to the bathroom to compose myself. I agreed to the divorce with Bartley. Besides being sad, I felt a great deal of guilt towards my son for not being able to let him grow up in a complete family. But I knew that this guilt wasn't caused by me. In the morning, after sending my son to school, I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with Bartley to apply for a divorce. There would be a 30-day cooling-off period, and then we could get the divorce certificate. After getting back in the car, I drew a circle on the calendar and marked today, the countdown to the divorce. 30 days. I hesitated whether to tell my parents the news of the divorce. I grew up in this city, and my relatives and friends are all here. My parents are retired teachers, and I'm their only daughter. They are very open-minded, but my father's health hasn't been good in the past 2 years. I originally wanted to wait a bit longer. Bartley called me 2 days later. He rarely calls me. In the past, we always communicated because I would reply to him at any time, and he thought it was convenient. I had already deleted him last night. I answered the call. Bartley's voice sounded normal. Erica, your mom just called me and said she cooked a lot of dishes tonight and asked us to go over for dinner. I think your dad's health isn't good. We can tell him about the divorce after he recovers. What time do you think we should go? Also, your dad's birthday is next Sunday. I can go with you first. I had been hesitating, but after hearing Bartley's words, I decided to tell my parents the news. I replied, no need. Bartley said, you don't have to be brave. The old man's health is important. I said calmly, if you really cared, you wouldn't have cheated and asked for a divorce. My dad may not be in good health, but he's still mentally sharp. I don't think he would want me to continue in an unfaithful marriage. Bartley, don't call me again. If you want to see our son, follow the agreement. You can see him once a week. Hearing this, Bartley lost the tone of negotiation. Erica, I'll say it again. Siasu is also my son, and my family. But you gave up our home, didn't you? Finally, I heard Bartley put down the phone heavily. I hung up decisively and tried to calm down my collapsing emotions. I drove to the mall. I planned to replace the bed sheets, sofa, and all the furniture that Bartley liked at home, and I wanted everything to be in stock. After replacing everything, I cleaned the house and then went to my mom's place. When she saw me and didn't see Bartley, she thought he was busy. I was silent and called out to my mom nervously. She immediately noticed that something was wrong with me. She put down what she was doing and stared at me. Then she gently hugged me. I didn't say anything, but as a mother, she felt my emotions and grievances. I told her everything as calmly as I could. My mom handed me a tissue to wipe my tears. She said softly, "It's okay. Divorce is quite common nowadays. He wasn't honest and did such a thing. It's better to say it early. It's over. And it's over. Erica, I have only one request for you." After she finished speaking, her eyes were wet, and she held my hand. "Since you've decided to divorce, no matter what, don't get back together with him." I nodded through my tears. "Okay." After dinner, my mom and dad talked in the room for a long time. When they came out, my dad gave me a big red envelope. He said that today was a new beginning and it was worth celebrating. "I hope my precious daughter will be happy forever." After leaving my parents' house, I cried in the car for a long time. Before coming here, I was always afraid of disappointing their expectations. They rarely quarreled in their lives and got along harmoniously. When I married Bartley and everyone didn't approve, they said they respected my decision. Now that Bartley has achieved success and everyone envies me, they said they support my decision to divorce. I wiped my tears and looked at the calendar. The countdown to the divorce. 28 days. When I picked up my son from school, he said that his grandpa called him and missed him and asked if he could stay at his grandpa's house for a week. He asked me to send him there. I was stunned for a moment and took my son home to pack a small suitcase. He was very happy and said that his grandpa had made an appointment with him to play with the drone. I sent my son over. My mom accompanied me out. "Erica, cheer up and go out for a walk." When I got in the car, my mom stood there looking at me and didn't go in for a long time. I opened the mirror in the car and saw that I looked pale and downcast. I picked up my makeup and put on bright lipstick. I went back and packed my things. I went on a trip for a week. I saw a lot of people and scenery in a hurry and heard many stories on the way. When I came back, I felt much better. I looked at the calendar. The countdown to the divorce. 21 days. I came back just in time for my dad's birthday. This time, they planned to hold the celebration in a hotel and invite relatives and friends to gather. The hotel was not far from home. There were 5 tables in total, and they were all close relatives and friends. Many people asked about Bartley. Fortunately, my son had an interest class today and didn't come. My parents didn't answer directly. When my dad went on stage to speak, Bartley came at this time. He was wearing a suit and brought several bags of gifts and a big red envelope. Relatives and friends greeted him one after another. He waited for my dad to come down and handed over the red envelope. "Dad, happy birthday." My dad glanced at him indifferently. "Mr. Bartley, you're being too polite. You can keep the red envelope. After all, you and Erica are getting a divorce. I don't want you to spend money." Bartley's face froze instantly, and the relatives and friends were in an uproar. But soon they quieted down. His voice was soft. "We're still in the process of the agreement." My father shook his head. "It's the same thing. It means the same." After that, he turned around and invited everyone to eat and drink. Bartley stood there. He clenched the gift bag in his hand, and my mother politely returned the other things. He didn't stay any longer and left. After he left, the relatives and friends tacitly didn't mention Bartley anymore, and no one asked me about him again. It was all for the best. My mood gradually recovered. I accepted the situation and let it sink in. I gave up the title of Bartley's wife. I became Erica again. The property management and the housekeeper of the company somehow got the news and no longer called me Bartley's wife, but Erica. I quickly made myself busy. I planned to open a coffee shop. There was a store for transfer, and I was satisfied with the location and the decoration. So I signed the contract directly. The employees were all there, and the store could continue to operate. But I wanted to spend some time adjusting the categories and the taste. I would also change the storefront and the tables and chairs. I tentatively set it as a trial operation. I was busy making plans in the store for a day and planned to go home. I glanced at the calendar in the car. The countdown to the divorce. 15 days. Just downstairs, a girl named Mary from Bartley's company called me. She was cheerful and straightforward, and she was very likable. She asked me if I was busy. After learning that I wasn't, she started complaining to me and asked if I was going to divorce Bartley. I didn't hide it. She asked if it was because of Jane. I didn't know why she said that. I felt that maybe Bartley had made it public. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Mary wailed. "Erica, I knew it was because of that woman. No wonder you haven't sent us afternoon tea recently. I miss you so much." When I was with Bartley, I sent afternoon tea to them almost every week to thank them. Some colleagues often joked that they wanted to work there forever and have Bartley's wife's afternoon tea. It's okay. I'm going to open a coffee shop. When it's done, you can come, and I'll treat you. Mary let out a cry and quickly asked for the address. I said I would send it to her later. She agreed and then continued to complain. You don't know about that, Jane. After you stopped coming, she became the supervisor of the general office directly. Her attitude towards everyone has changed. She used to smile at everyone, but now she makes trouble at every turn. She can't hide her complacency at all. She also bought a dress and high heels similar to yours. It's obvious to everyone. What's Mr. Bartley's taste? Finally, she said that if it wasn't for the mortgage, she really wanted to resign to avoid facing that woman. When I got home, seeing that Mary was still talking, I soothed her for a while, and then she reluctantly hung up. By now, I didn't seem to want to know anything about Jane, unlike when Bartley told me about his affair and I went crazy wanting to figure out what charm she had. I pushed open the door and didn't expect to see Bartley's shoes. He was playing games with our son. When our son saw me, he shouted excitedly, "Mom, come quickly. Let's play together and beat Dad." In the past, at this time, Bartley would lift our son up and make him laugh, and then come to catch me. The whole house was filled with laughter. Now Bartley coughed and rubbed our son's head. Mom has been running around all day and is very tired. How about next time? Okay, Dad. When will you stop going on business trips? Bartley thought for a while and said softly, "Soon," and then urged our son to go to bed. After being busy in the coffee shop all day, I didn't have the energy to talk to him. I told him to close the door when he left. He said he promised our son that he would sleep with him today. I didn't say anything more. Just as I closed the door to my room, I heard Bartley's phone ring in the living room. After he answered it, he repeated something. Finally, his voice lowered and he sounded a bit impatient. I said, "I'm just home to accompany Siasu. What are you afraid of? I've already signed the divorce agreement with her. How many times do I have to say it? We're not sleeping in the same room." Finally, I heard Bartley hang up the phone. He came over and knocked on my door. "Erica, there's something urgent in the company. I have to go back. I'll come to accompany our son tomorrow." I didn't open the door and said okay. My voice was neither too loud nor too soft, and Bartley outside the door could hear me. Before he left the house, I received a message that $50,000 had been transferred to my son's bank card. The note said to take our son to have something good tomorrow. I didn't reply to him. I opened the computer and looked at the plan for the coffee shop. Then a message from a stranger popped up. There was no text, just a smiling emoji. Her profile picture was a bunch of flowers. When I clicked in, there was a simple background, and there was nothing in her moments. I couldn't even remember when I added this person. Looking at the chat page, it turned out to be from 2 years ago. While I was recalling, she sent a message. "You must be very proud." Right. Almost instantly, I felt that this person was Jane, but Jane had only been in Bartley's company for half a year. Why did she have my WeChat 2 years ago? Could it be that this account had been secretly watching my life for nearly 2 years? I took a sharp breath. I sent a question mark in reply. The other person typed quickly, "No matter what method you use to keep him, I can make him come to me immediately." Sure enough, it was her, Jane. Did it mean that Bartley had known Jane 2 years ago? Or even longer? Jane sent a photo. I clicked on it and saw Bartley lying shirtless in a hotel, with a woman's hand on his chest. The red date in the lower right corner of the photo said, February 16, 2023. I stared at the photo, and a wave of discomfort and nausea hit me. I vomited violently into the trash can on the ground. February 16, 2023. That was the day my father had his first surgery due to his physical discomfort. Bartley was very busy throughout February. He was on business trips continuously. To come back and accompany me, he pushed several meetings. He gently comforted me on the video call all the time. I couldn't sleep because of my nervousness, and Bartley had a video call with me all night. With great difficulty, he managed to rush back on the morning of February 16th. He accompanied me outside the operating room. It turned out that on that day, while he was extremely busy, he still found time to sleep with Jane. How could he come back and face me with a clear conscience? Seeing that I didn't reply, Jane became even more complacent. She sent several photos in a row, all marked with dates. There was our wedding anniversary with Bartley. There was our son's birthday. Every time, he accompanied Jane first and then rushed back to be with us. A huge wave of nausea spread from my chest, swallowing up my pain. Yes, I had thought that Bartley was tired of us in the past half year. He disliked our plain and warm life. Or he met his true love in his middle age. It turned out that he had been rotten for a long time. I went to the bathroom and washed my face. I went back to the computer and saved the evidence photos one by one. I knew that Jane dared to send these because the $20 million of the divorce agreement hadn't been fully transferred to me. Bartley had transferred $8 million to me one after another in the past half month. And there was still $12 million left. He said he might need some time. The house and the car were already in my name. And there was no loan. It was clearly written in the agreement. And since he agreed, there was no dispute. If I made a scene now and affected Bartley's company, his anger would only make me lose more than I gained. Our son would completely lose his father. When Bartley said he wanted a divorce because of his affair, he might have expected me to cry and make a fuss. But with my character, I cared about dignity the most and wouldn't go crazy in his company. It was just that Jane didn't expect me to be so straightforward. I didn't make a scene. And I didn't even confront Bartley. This was beyond her expectation. There was something strange. Jane had been by Bartley's side for so long and had hidden it so well. Even after joining the company for half a year, she had pretended to be an innocent good person. Why couldn't she wait any longer? Clearly, in half a month, Bartley and I would be completely separated. She actually made a scene because Bartley went home to accompany our son. I looked at the time. It wasn't too late. I called Mary. She was having a dinner party with several colleagues from the department and said she was gossiping about Bartley and Jane. We exchanged some information. I learned several new things. Bartley drank too much at a business dinner half a month ago, and the beautiful female boss of the partner personally sent him home. Later, she privately invited Bartley several times. Since I didn't send afternoon tea to the company this week, everyone guessed that Bartley and I had a quarrel. I would soon be single. After this spread, some girls with ulterior motives flocked to Bartley. After that, Jane couldn't sit still. Erica, you're so nice. I really don't want to hide it from you. Don't be sad. Although Mr. Bartley is handsome, he's a scumbag. You will definitely meet a better man. No, forget it. Men are nothing. You will definitely reach the peak of your career, and the coffee shop will be very popular. Then you can think about men. Haha. My depressed mood was cheered up by Mary. Thank you. I'll try my best. After hanging up the phone, I looked at the time. It was already past midnight, and the reminder on the calendar was very clear. The countdown to the divorce. 14 days. Combined with what Mary said, I knew why Jane was in such a hurry to be transferred to the general department and why her mentality had changed. I was going to divorce Bartley. She originally thought she could take my place, but now that others got the news, they swarmed in. They all had good conditions. And they could all bring a sense of freshness. She was afraid that the duck that was almost cooked would fly away. She felt a sense of crisis. She needed to use her blatant power to warn those who had thoughts about Bartley. This wasn't the first time she had made a scene in the past half month. She forced Bartley to leave tonight. She probably knew she had gone too far, so she wanted to stimulate me with these photos. She wanted to drag me to confront Bartley and make Bartley see me lose my temper, so that the blame would be shifted to me. Before she sent these disgusting things, I really didn't want to pay attention to her. Since she wanted to be disgusting, I would fulfill her wish. I neither blocked her nor blacklisted her. The first thing I did was to invite Bartley to dinner. He was taken aback but agreed. I made an appointment at the place where Bartley accompanied me for my birthday for the first time, which was near the university town. It was a small stir-fry restaurant at that time, and now it had been expanded by twice, and the business was getting better. When Bartley's luxury car stopped at the door, it didn't match the old alley around it. This was the best thing Bartley could treat me to more than 10 years ago. He used the money he saved from his part-time job for a long time to buy me a necklace and took me here for dinner. I looked at Bartley in a suit opposite me and the sincere young man in my memory. They overlapped and then disappeared. I didn't choose a private room. I deliberately chose a place by the roadside. The sunlight here was very good. Neither of us said anything. After Bartley ordered, he skillfully rinsed my bowls and chopsticks with boiling water. When we were eating, Bartley always felt that the taste was wrong. He called the boss and learned that his father was still the chef. He was slightly surprised and didn't say anything more. I picked up a piece of spicy fried pork. I thought the taste was the same as before and smiled, saying that he had changed. Bartley asked, "Really?" "Of course, Mr. Bartley has seen and eaten so much over the years. He doesn't think this small restaurant's food is good anymore. But I think the taste is still the same as back then." Bartley stopped his chopsticks and looked at me. After a moment of silence, he said, "Erica, I'm sorry." I smiled bitterly. "People move forward. I should learn from you in this regard," Bartley said softly, tentatively. "Don't you want to ask anything? Will you tell the truth if I ask? Should I ask if you were fooling around with Jane on the day of my father's surgery?" "Bartley, you can't say it." He was silent and let out a long sigh. Then he asked me if there was anything wrong. I said frankly that I needed a sum of money recently and asked if he could give me the $12 million as soon as possible. "Erica, even if you asked me out for the money today, I'm still happy. Over the years, I didn't expect that I've moved on, but you're still stuck in the past. I'll transfer the money to you as soon as possible. If you need any help in the future, feel free to contact me." After Bartley left, I went to the front desk to pay the bill. I sent a red envelope to the boss and thanked him for his little help just now. He told Bartley that his father was still the chef, but there was more than one chef in the kitchen. This spicy fried pork wasn't made by his father. Although the taste was similar, it was still different. Bartley could taste the difference, which was normal. I wanted him to feel a sense of superiority. I wanted him to feel that he was different, while I was still remembering and missing the past with him. After going out, I went to a private studio. I contacted them last night, and they sent the news this afternoon. It was very fast. He handed me a data packet. It was about Jane. She was 41 years old, married, had a child, and her child was 12 years old. Her husband worked in a factory in the neighboring city. Besides, the person she had the most contact with in the past 2 years was her younger brother. Her younger brother also knew about Bartley. To be honest, I was really surprised when I saw this information. I knew Jane's age, but she said she was divorced in the company, and she had a child. The key was that she wasn't divorced. I asked the person in charge of the studio if the data packet was real. He triumphantly made an "okay" gesture at me. "Don't worry, I'll handle it. As long as you give the word, I can send it out for you immediately." "No need." I didn't get these materials to inform Bartley. On the contrary, I hoped Jane could hide her husband well recently, at least until I got divorced. I underestimated Jane. I thought she wanted to take my place as the wife. I didn't expect it to be a honey trap. She spent 2 years on Bartley. Now that she was about to succeed, she definitely wouldn't let others steal her chance. I drew a circle on the calendar. The countdown to the divorce. 13 days. When the $12 million arrived in my account, I was busy with the trial operation of the coffee shop. I slightly changed the style of the store and set up coupons. The effect was quite good so far. When my friend knew the money had arrived, she asked if it was a loss to settle the score in one lump sum. I thought that doing business wasn't always smooth. There would be all kinds of emergencies. Ups and downs were normal. I couldn't guarantee how long it would last either. It was more reassuring to settle it in one go. The main thing was that I didn't want to contact Bartley every month. My friend said it made sense. What I got in my hand was real. Mary also came to the coffee shop to have coffee during her break. She said Bartley had taken on a big business and was busy negotiating. Jane went to work with a famous brand bag and was much more honest. It was obvious that Bartley used the bag to please her. Jane's forbearance was for getting more. This was the cause Bartley planted in the past, and he would probably bear the fruit soon. For example, when Bartley had dinner with me in the restaurant that day, I saw Jane standing around the corner outside the window. She sent me more explicit photos that night. She defiantly showed half of her face. I packed them up and planned to send them to her husband when I got the divorce certificate. After organizing the folder, the doorbell rang. I got up and opened the door. Jane had dyed and permed her hair and wore lipstick of the same color as mine. After the door opened, Jane was completely different from before. Her eyes were full of provocation. "Miss Erica, I'm sorry. Mr. Bartley's household register fell here. I came to get it." She tried to come in. I stopped her. "When Bartley and I signed the divorce agreement, he took the household register away. Is that so?" "Maybe Mr. Bartley remembered it wrong. Actually, I really came to see you. Bartley doesn't know, but I do. You're luring him in by retreating." I asked. "Really? So you think that lurking in my moments for 2 years is enough to understand me?" She covered her mouth and smiled, pushed my hand away, and looked around the room. "Erica, I really thought you didn't care. It's not long since Bartley left, and you've changed the style. What, are you afraid of being sad?" After she finished speaking, my son was woken up by her and called me Mom. He asked if Dad was here. Jane laughed softly. "I'm Aunt Jane. Your dad is in a meeting and won't be back today. And tomorrow. He may not be back either. I clenched my fists and ignored Jane. I went in a hurry to soothe my son. When I went in, my son opened his eyes dejectedly and looked wronged. I coaxed him that I would take him to the amusement park tomorrow and asked him to go to bed early. When I came out, Jane was still in the living room. She was leisurely drinking red wine. I knew what she came in for. In a few days, it would be Bartley's father's birthday. We used to attend together in the past. Bartley also called and asked if I could go back with him this year. But Jane didn't want me to go. Bartley's hometown was remote. His parents had moved to the county a few years ago, but it was still not close. Going there would evoke too many memories of the past. She was afraid that something might go wrong. She just wanted to provoke me so that she could fan the flames in Bartley's ear. It was just right. I also didn't know what reason to use to refuse Bartley since the $20 million had arrived. So I walked over slowly, looked down at her, and suddenly raised my hand and slapped her hard. She was slapped to the side of her face and laughed bitterly. It's nothing special. You were just pretending not to care before. Right. What does it feel like to have your man stolen? You who are so high and mighty. I snatched the cup from her hand. I grabbed her hair with one hand and dragged her out, and covered her mouth with the other hand. She struggled, and I threw her out. Jane, you've achieved your goal. You can go and complain to Bartley. If you think it's not enough, I can give you a few more slaps to balance it out. Jane angrily pointed at me and called me a shrew, and roared, when she rolled up her sleeves and was about to rush at me. I took out my phone to record. She gave me an angry look, picked up the bag on the floor, and called Bartley while crying. I looked at the date. I calmly expected this farce to end. The countdown to the divorce. 10 days. Bartley called quickly. I could tell that he was suppressing his displeasure. He asked me why I hit her. Even if Jane was wrong, I should just drive her away. Now it had become a mess. If Jane didn't want to settle it privately, calling the police would complicate things. I laughed, then let her call the police. She broke into my house first and was morally corrupt later. As a mistress, didn't she think she would be slapped when she came to provoke me? She also irritated our son and hinted that you wouldn't have time to accompany him. Bartley, our son is my bottom line. I hope he is yours too. After that, I hung up before Bartley could reply. I sent him a message and refused to go back to his hometown with him. I felt relieved. The person in charge of the private studio called me and said that Jane had just called her husband and would give him a sum of money to divorce. They agreed to go through the reservation procedures next week. She was trying to solve one problem by creating another. Sooner or later, she wouldn't be able to make up for it. She was probably forcing Bartley to get the marriage certificate. The person in charge of the private studio sighed with me. Jane is really strange. You said she couldn't hold her temper, but she managed to seduce Bartley for 2 years. Then again, she couldn't hold her temper. At this critical moment, she had to cause trouble. After that, he continued to analyze. Maybe she didn't feel the crisis before. Their underground relationship was exciting. Now, at the crucial moment of taking my place, there are too many people better than her around Bartley. She was worried that someone would steal her chance, so she made a high-profile appearance. I took a sip of coffee. Maybe, from that day on, Jane's alternate account didn't send me any more messages. Mary came to the coffee shop to have coffee and told me. Jane accompanied Bartley to his father's birthday as his secretary. She became much more low-key after coming back. It seemed that Bartley had finally promised her something. Mary asked me what I thought. It's fine. Mary let out an, "Oh, Erica, do you really think so? The mistress is taking your place." I nodded. The scumbag had precisely received his comeuppance among all people. Wasn't it a good thing? The coffee shop adjusted the products and decorations today. It officially opened, and I posted a record on Moments. Also, I circled the date on the calendar. The countdown to the divorce. 5 days. In the first 3 days after the opening, I was busy until very late. I hardly looked at my phone. When I was organizing the information, I saw the text message of blessing Bartley sent before. After deleting it, I made an appointment for getting the divorce certificate. After a long time, he replied with a message. Do you want to talk? Let's talk after getting the divorce certificate. After a while, Bartley replied with a, okay. I continued, at 10 a.m. Okay. The night outside the window was still the same. It seemed that nothing had changed, but the decorations in the house were brand new. It was anticipation. It was a new beginning. I put all the photos Jane sent me into the data packet. The countdown to the divorce. 2 days. On the day of getting the divorce certificate, I waited at the door for half an hour, and Bartley came in a hurry. We had a simple greeting. We went through the procedures and got the divorce certificate. Holding the divorce certificate, Bartley looked a bit lost, but he recovered quickly. He invited me to have lunch together. I have something else to do. After that, I didn't look at Bartley anymore. When I went out, I sent all the photos Jane sent me to her husband. A month later, Mary came. She said that I had posted the divorce certificate on Moments 2 days after getting it, with a caption saying it was like a dream. 2 months later, Mary came to see me with a lot of snacks. She said she was going to resign and comfort herself by overeating. Now she didn't need to, and she asked me to eat to be happy. I served her coffee. I asked her what made her so happy. She said she was finally free from Jane's oppression and laughed until she was in stitches. Erica, you don't know. Just last week, Jane secretly announced that she was going to get married to Mr. Bartley. I had already written my resignation letter. As a result, this morning, a man rushed into the company and grabbed Jane and hit her. He cursed and said she was having an affair. He also shouted everywhere asking where Bartley was and said Bartley was a mistress who had broken up a married couple. At first, some colleagues tried to stop him, but the man showed a bunch of photos. Tut-tut. It was really disgusting. Later, others just tried to smooth things over and pretended to pull him away. Bartley was in the office at that time, but he didn't come out. Later, the secretary said the man had maliciously photoshopped the photos and had him thrown out. I saw someone following him. I guess they were going to talk about something. From this incident, it seemed that Bartley probably wouldn't get married to Jane. He hated being deceived the most. And there was the scandal of the mistress. Although he had blocked the news, the rival company still knew about it. They used it as material to step on him. Bartley's image plummeted. He had endorsed the company's products before, and all the endorsement photos were taken down. To prevent the matter from spreading, he bribed Jane's husband and asked him to apologize and admit that he had photoshopped the photos. Jane also left the company. Mary said she had also divorced, and her ex-husband got a large sum of money. Bartley also came to see the child a few times. He looked tired. Sometimes he wanted to stay for dinner, but I refused. He stood at the door, hesitating to speak. Erica, is there any possibility for us to start over? I looked at him and closed the door with a bang. Every time my friend called, she said she wanted to introduce a boyfriend to me. I declined several times. Now, making money was more reassuring. Come on, Erica, you can't lose hope in love. It's not that I'm disappointed. I'm not hate love, but I'm not expecting it either. Not long after, she brought a man with great temperament to my store. He was gentle and polite. We got to know each other briefly. The man and I were both too busy, and we often didn't have time to chat. My friend was anxious. Erica, aren't you tempted by such a great guy? I smiled. I'm busy. My friend sighed helplessly. I lowered my head and calculated the cost of opening a branch. Half a year later, I saw the man post a photo of his marriage certificate. I silently gave it a thumbs up. Sure enough, after that thumbs up, his company often ordered coffee from me. The reason was that his wife liked the taste of my coffee. I was still happy about the big customer. Something big happened to Bartley. I heard that Jane went to Bartley's office in a trance. At first, she normally asked Bartley what he would have for lunch. Suddenly, in front of the investors, she took out a knife from her bag. She asked Bartley when he would marry her. Then she smashed the tables and chairs in the office and scared the investors away. Mary described the scene, and it was really something. Bartley's face turned green with anger. Finally, Bartley called the police and had Jane arrested. Just 2 days after that, Jane's younger brother came with a group of people and asked Bartley for an explanation. Mary heard that Bartley had temporarily settled the matter with money, but she guessed that with Jane's younger brother's hooliganism, it wouldn't end anytime soon. After all, they had tasted the happiness. A few days after this incident, many people resigned. They were mainly worried that they would be hurt in the future. Their lives were more important. Mary was also going to change jobs. She said that after this incident, many companies offered good salaries and took in the heartbroken colleagues of Bartley's company. After that, she couldn't help laughing. Her new company paid well. Erica, this really proves the saying that a man who mistreats his wife will never have wealth. I remembered the first year Bartley and I got married. He bought an ornament that said listening to his wife would make him prosperous. He put it in the office every day. Later, I don't know which day it was broken, and he never put it there again. Now, the face of Bartley in my memory was blurred. Mary looked at me and asked hesitantly, with a bit of gossip, Erica, aren't you curious about how Bartley and Jane got together? I answered truthfully. I was curious, but even if there wasn't Jane, there would be someone else. No matter what the situation or environment was, it was just an excuse for him to cheat. After seeing Mary off, just before closing the store, Bartley came. The white shirt he was wearing was a bit wrinkled, and he smelled of alcohol. He looked in poor spirits and his voice was hoarse. Erica, could you order a glass of water for me? I asked someone to bring him a glass of water. Not long after, the store closed. He followed me all the way to my car. When I got in the car, he said he missed our child and asked if he could go back with me to see him. Sorry, he's at my mom's place today and won't be back soon. You can go see him according to the agreement. His face turned pale, and after coughing a few times, he quickly stopped me. Erica, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not a decent person. I'm sorry to you and our son. Can you forgive me? If we can start over, all my assets can be put in your name. I shook my head at Bartley. He came up and grabbed the car door, breathing heavily. I can swear, I can promise that if there's a next time, I'll leave with nothing. I really drank too much at that time and was carried away by my emotions. I thought our life was too plain. When I said we should get a divorce, I didn't expect you to agree directly. I thought you would blame me and scold me. I was stupid and didn't cherish such a good life. But I really love you. Erica, you have to believe. I interrupted him. Bartley, I have a lot of things to do and don't have time to accompany you. Whether you came to me to appease the investors or you really feel regretful, it doesn't matter to me. What's important is that you are already in my past forever. I was so lucky to have married you. Enough, I said impatiently. Bartley, that's enough. It would be impolite for me to say more. Suddenly, he took out his phone in a hurry and showed me an alternate account. Erica, I know you won't forgive me, but I swear to you that the first time between me and Jane was really an accident. This is my alternate account. It records our life over the years, and even the affair is on it. He kept talking and flipping through it. As he swayed, I could see many photos of my back that he had secretly taken and sentences expressing lingering love. Until he was busy with work and worried about the company's development, I turned my back on him and prepared to drive. Bartley quickly threw his phone into the car. When I got home, I casually threw his phone aside and went to wash up. When I came out, I saw that Bartley's phone was still on. He must have set it not to lock the screen. I stared at the screen, reached out and turned it off, then threw the phone into the trash can. I sat down beside the computer and planned the location of the coffee shop branch. As for Bartley and me, I only hope that in the future, I won't see him, won't think about him, and won't waste time on him. The end.